The ancient human warship emerged from hyperspace and unleashed a hellstorm of weaponry upon the Orion fleet, shredding their shields like paper and vaporizing the alien battle cruisers into molten debris within mere moments of its arrival. Just minutes before, the battle between the Orion Empire and United Terran Federation had reached a desperate climax. The ruthless Admiral Lyra, commander of the Orion flagship, was mere moments from smashing through the last human defensive perimeter. Her deep hatred of humanity fueled her relentless assault, and the UTS ships were buckling under the onslaught of missiles and plasma fire. In a last-ditch effort, the human fleet commander sent out a distress signal to any Terran ship still in the sector, hoping for a miracle. That miracle arrived in the form of the USS Odyssey, an ancient, mysterious dreadnought under the command of Captain Douglas Clark. As soon as the Odyssey dropped out of hyperspace, its advanced weaponry and shielding shifted the balance of power in an instant. The Orions launched a massive barrage at the human warship, but the Odyssey's energy shields absorbed the missiles, railgun rounds and plasma beams without so much as a flicker. Then, the ancient human ship opened fire with some type of advanced energy beam weapon, slicing clean through the Orion ships and tearing them apart. For the UTS forces, their salvation had arrived in the form of this ancient warship, their last hope to survive this battle. But for the Orions, the Odyssey's sudden appearance turned a near-certain victory into a slaughter as the dreadnought effortlessly vaporized their fleet. It seemed impossible, but the war was about to end, and it was the humans who would emerge victorious thanks to a single ship and its mysterious commander. As the Orion ships burned and broke apart under the relentless assault of the Odyssey's advanced weaponry, Captain Clark opened a comm channel directly to Admiral Lyra's flagship. His face appeared on her view screen, a fierce expression etched into his features. "Admiral Lyra, I challenge you to single combat, ship to ship. Let's end this once and for all." Lyra slammed her fist on the armrest of her command chair, her eyes burning with rage at the human's audacity. "You dare challenge me? Fine, I accept. All ships, stand down." The Orion fleet ceased fire, pulling back as Lyra's flagship moved to engage the Odyssey directly. The two massive warships squared off, trading blows with advanced energy weapons, missiles, and torpedoes. Explosions blossomed across their shields as they pounded each other mercilessly. During the fierce exchange, Clark worked furiously at his console, attempting to hack into the Orion ship's systems. His eyes widened as he broke through the encryption, revealing schematics for a massive planet-killing weapon labeled Star Eater. Lyra's face appeared on his view screen, a wicked grin on her face. "You see it now, don't you, Clark? The Star Eater is already operational and aimed directly at your precious Earth. All I have to do is give the command, and your homeworld will be nothing but cosmic dust." Clark gritted his teeth, mind racing. He had to stop that weapon, no matter the cost. He opened the ship-wide comm. "Commander Johnson, I'm transferring command of the Odyssey to you. I'm going to board Lyra's ship and stop that weapon. Keep them busy." As Clark raced to the transporter room, Lyra's forces pressed their attack on the Odyssey, trying to overwhelm the ancient warship with sheer numbers. But the Odyssey's advanced AI took control of navigation and weapons, outmaneuvering the Orion ships with inhuman precision. The human warship danced through the enemy fleet, dealing devastating blows as it went. Clark materialized on Lyra's ship with his energy rifle ready, cutting down Orion soldiers as he fought his way to the bridge. When he kicked open the door, he found himself face to face with Admiral Lyra herself. She drew her own weapon, a cruel smile on her lips. "Clark, I knew you'd come. Let's finish this once and for all." The two rivals charged at each other, weapons forgotten as they clashed in hand-to-hand combat, the fate of Earth hanging in the balance as they traded blows. Clark and Lyra traded blows on the bridge of the Orion flagship, their fight devolving into a brutal hand-to-hand brawl. As they grappled with each other, Lyra snarled, "You humans think you're so righteous, but you're no better than the rest of us. Your kind killed my family in the war, and I've waited years for this moment." Clark blocked a vicious punch from the enraged Admiral, trying to reason with her between ragged breaths. "Lyra, this cycle of hatred will only lead to more destruction. We can end this, here and now, before it's too late. But Lyra was beyond reason, consumed by her thirst for vengeance. She lunged at Clark with renewed fury, forcing him back with a flurry of strikes. Meanwhile, the Odyssey's AI infiltrated the Orion fleet's communication network, its advanced algorithms sowing discord among the ranks. As it delved deeper into the enemy's systems, the AI discovered a surprising truth. Many of the Orion ships were crewed by conscripts from conquered worlds, forced to fight and die for their oppressors. Acting on this information, the Odyssey broadcast a message of hope and freedom to the conscripted ships, urging them to turn against their Orion masters and fight for their own liberation. The message spread like wildfire through the fleet, sparking mutinies and uprisings on dozens of ships. Back on the flagship, Clark finally managed to gain the upper hand, subduing Lyra with a well-placed blow. As he held her down, the Admiral laughed bitterly. "You're too late, Clark. The Star Eater is already primed and ready to fire. It's set to launch automatically, and the only way to stop it is from the ship's bridge." Clark's eyes widened in horror as he realized the stakes. He had to reach the bridge and deactivate the weapon, or Earth would be lost. Leaving Lyra unconscious on the floor, he raced through the corridors of the enemy ship, fighting his way past elite Orion guards and automated defense turrets. Time was running out, and the fate of humanity hung in the balance as Clark battled his way towards the bridge, desperation fueling his every step. Explosions rocked Lyra's warship as Clark sprinted through the corridors, the sounds of weapons fire and screams echoing through the halls. Orion guards rushed at him from all sides, plasma rifles blazing. Clark dove behind a bulkhead, his own energy rifle spitting blue bolts of superheated plasma. 2 guards fell, smoking holes burnt through their chests. Clark rolled out from cover, coming up firing. 3 more Orions went down in rapid succession. Clark snatched a plasma grenade from his belt and hurled it down the corridor. The explosion tore through the remaining soldiers, the shockwave nearly knocking Clark off his feet. He pushed forward the bridge just ahead. Suddenly the ship shuddered violently. Warning klaxons blared. Clark's comm crackled to life. It was his first officer aboard the Odyssey. "Captain, the Odyssey's AI did it. A third of the Orion fleet just turned on the rest. It's chaos out here." Clark allowed himself a grim smile. "Good work, Commander. Rally the Federation ships and push the attack. I'm almost to the bridge." "Aye, sir, we'll keep them off your back. Odyssey out." Clark reached the bridge doors, which hissed open at his approach. He stepped through, rifle raised, to find Admiral Lyra waiting for him. She stood at the center of the bridge, a cold smile on her lips, her hand resting on a control panel. "Congratulations on making it this far, Clark. Just in time to watch me end your pathetic species once and for all." Clark aimed his rifle at her head. "Step away from the console, Lyra. It's over." Lyra laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. "Over? Oh no, Clark, it's only just beginning." Her fingers danced over the control panel. A holographic display flickered to life, showing Earth serene and blue. Lyra met Clark's eyes, her gaze burning with hatred. "The Star Eater is armed and ready. With the push of a button, not only will your homeworld burn, but your entire solar system will be consumed in the blast." Clark's finger tightened on the trigger, but he hesitated. "Why, Lyra? Why go this far? There won't be any winners here, only death and destruction on a scale the galaxy has never seen." Lyra slammed her fist on the console, her composure cracking. "You humans took everything from me. My family, my home, my future. I won't rest until I've taken everything from you in return." Clark lowered his rifle slightly, his voice urgent. "Lyra, listen to me. I understand your pain, your anger, but this isn't the way. Strength doesn't come from lashing out, from perpetuating a cycle of violence and hate. True strength comes from finding common ground, from uniting in the face of adversity." Lyra's hand hovered over the control panel, trembling. Conflict played across her face. Clark pressed on, desperate to reach her. "If we have a chance here, Lyra, a chance to end this war, to forge a new path for both our peoples, but it starts with a choice to let go of the past and reach for a better future. Please, don't let hatred poison you any further." For a long, tense moment, Lyra stared at Clark, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Outside the viewports, the battle raged, the once mighty Orion fleet fracturing under the combined assault of the Federation and the rebelling conscript ships. Lyra's hand moved towards the console, her decision hanging in the balance. The fate of Earth, of the entire war, would be decided in the next few seconds. Clark lunged towards the control panel, sweat pouring down his face. Lyra's hand hovered over the activation switch, her eyes burning with rage and madness. Clark crashed into her, the two rivals grappling furiously. Lyra fought like a wild animal, clawing and kicking as they tumbled across the bridge. "It's over, Lyra. Stand down," Clark yelled, struggling to restrain her. But the Orion Admiral was beyond reason, consumed by her thirst for vengeance. They slammed against a console, sparks flying. Clark managed to pin Lyra's arms, staring into her hate-filled eyes. "Don't do this. There's been enough death." Lyra spat in his face, snarling, "Death is all your kind deserves." She kicked him away and lunged for the control panel. Clark tackled her just as her fingers brushed the switch. They hit the ground hard, Clark's hands locked around Lyra's wrists. Outside, the battle raged, explosions lighting up the void as the Odyssey and the defected Orion ships tore into the enemy fleet. Lyra thrashed beneath him, but Clark held firm. "Look at what's happening. Your fleet is in ruins. Your own people have turned against you. This path leads nowhere." Something flickered in Lyra's eyes, a crack in her rage. Clark pressed on. "I know your pain, Lyra. I've lost people too. But this isn't the answer. Revenge won't bring them back." Lyra's struggles weakened, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Tears streamed down her face. I don't know anything else. They took everything from me." Clark slowly released her, sitting back. "Then take this chance to build something new, a future without endless war, without the cycle of revenge. You have that power, Lyra." The Orion Admiral stared at him, conflict raging in her eyes. Then slowly she reached for her sidearm and placed it on the ground. "I surrender, Clark of Earth, the lives of my crew, in exchange for my own." Clark shook his head. "No one else dies today. We'll have justice, not vengeance. It's time to end this." He stood and offered her his hand. After a long moment, Lyra took it, allowing him to pull her to her feet. Together they stepped to the viewport, watching as the last Orion ships surrendered, the fires of war finally dying out. The cost had been high. Debris from shattered vessels drifted through space, a grim testament to the lives lost on both sides. But as Clark looked out at the Odyssey, battered but unbroken, he knew that their sacrifices hadn't been in vain. A new era was dawning, one where human and Orion would have to find a way to coexist. The scars ran deep, the wounds still fresh, but there was hope, and Clark would ensure that hope survived, no matter the challenges ahead. As the Odyssey's crew began the long process of recovery and repair, Clark knew his own mission was just beginning. The old warship had fought its last battle, but the struggle for lasting peace was only just starting. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.